Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Now today I'm going to be reviewing an album what I'm actually not a big fan of. I recently got asked why I always tend to review albums what I'm a really big fan of. So I thought it was a good question that, so I thought let's shake it up a bit with this video. Let's look at an album what I'm actually personally not a big fan of, although it is a loved album. A lot of people really rave about this. I am going to be talking about the Kinks Muswell Hilbillies. Right, yeah, so in this video I will just do my usual thing, I'll give a bit of background information about the album, then I will show you the vinyl copy of it here, which is a remastered one from 2014 this came out, and then look at each of the album songs in detail. So the album was released on the 24th of November in 1971. It was the Kinks' 9th studio album and their first release on the RCA Records label. The album title, which I think is probably one of the better things about the album, is play on words on the Muswell Hill area of London where the Davies brothers grew up, and the American hillbillies, where a lot of the musical influences from this album got taken. There's a lot of country stuff in there, lots of and blues as well. But then again a lot of sort of British music hall stuff as well. So it is a real mix of stuff on this album. Upon release, the Kinks' last few albums, this failed to chart, and however, it did get positive reviews at the time, and is often seen as one of the Kinks' very best albums. Yeah, I'm just going to quickly show you this vinyl copy here. So yeah, as I said, a remastered edition. So basically what I've done with this one here is it came with these two stickers on it. You had the front sticker there with just sort of promo sticker, but then on the back you had the track listing. It wasn't actually printed on the record, so I thought it'd be best stick this onto the Blake sleeve. And then the actual album itself is here. Now I do like the cover. Again, one of the better things about the album for me. I think the cover really fits the sort of working class nature of the music and the lyrics on it and that. The gatefold looks like this. We have all of the lyrics here. Not sure if original copies were this fancy with the gatefold and that, but it is a really nice reissue what they've done here. In this first compartment here, we get the actual album itself, just there, as you can see there, just on RCA Records. And then with this one here, which I think is pretty nice, they give you a bonus vinyl here, which I must admit I haven't actually listened to yet. But you get alternative takes, and I think a couple of BBC John Peel sessions. So yeah, if you are a really big fan of this album, then this is some really good stuff on the second disc. It also comes with a insert here, just has a picture of the band, sort of all long hair and beards now. No more sort of mod thing, they moved away from that unfortunately. There's all of the tracks there, so a lot of tracks. That's the bonus stuff there, so you can have a wee browse through that. And then I think this also came with a download card as well, which I have used actually. That's what the download card looks like there. So very nice. I have user code, by the way. So yeah, really nice, or complete package. As far as a packaging is concerned, this is a really nice vinyl repressing. But now it's time to go over the actual music on here. So yeah, I will look at each song individually, score each song out of 10, and then those scores will be used to give us a percentage mark for the album. So it opens up with the song 20th Century Man, which I'm giving a 6 out of 10 to. Now this isn't a bad song lyrically, and sort of the singer, he's sort of talking about the worries of the modern world, or the narrator of the song, of course the singer's Ray Davies, of course, but yeah, sort of he's saying he's worried about the modern world, and he makes sort of attacks on the people who like created like the world what like he's like living in and that sort of like so yeah, the lyrics like they make sense, like they do work. The music is like quite like a like acoustic like arrangement with like a bit of like slide guitar like in there from like Glover Davies. And like it moves like along nicely, but it is a very overlong track. Like it's about 5 minutes long, and really shouldn't be that long for me personally. About like 3 minutes, then yeah, this would be like a 7 or like even like an 8 out of 10. But it just goes on and on and on, really drags its feet, this song. And this was like the lead single to the album, like as well, released like in like America, and like it charted outside the Billboard 100. So yeah, so like a far cry from like the year before, like where they had like the hit single Lola, which is like a massive hit, like I think like top 5 on like both sides like of the Atlantic, and like this song effectively like failed to chart. So yeah, pretty poor performance like from this song. Next one is called Acute Schizophrenia Paranoia Blues, and this is a 3 out of 10 for me. Very lazy song is like how like I'd describe this one. It's very sort of laid back. You almost get like the impression that like the band, they're not really trying with this one to get like a good take. It's just sort of like it is like very sort of standard like blues like structure and like arrangement. You've got all like these horns on it as well that kind of sound like out of tune. It's not really pleasing like to like the ears for me. It just kind of like, again, like it does like drag a little bit, and like his vocals like aren't like all that good on this track either. So yeah, not a favourite of mine. And then we get probably the worst one on the album, a track called Holiday, which is a 2 out of 10. Not sure why it's a 2, not sure really what like redeems this song, but anyway, yeah, like I'm giving it a 2 out of 10. A slower, slightly quieter, jazzy number, and yeah, like his vocals on this, I just cannot stand them. They're so like he puts on like this stupid voice, like he's trying to be like different characters. Like it's something what like he would like later do on like the albums like Preservation and like a soap opera, and that like that sort of period like off like the Kinks, like I really don't like, and this was for me the start of that period. And yeah, the lyrics on this one are like okay. They're sort of like like he's talking about like his like holidays and like whatnot and that, but it's just like a poor song, very poorly performed, and like the music really like not very memorable at all. So yeah, a 2 out of 10 for Holiday. We get a song called Skin and Bone, which I'm giving a 7 out of 10 to. Probably one of the better ones like on the album, like if I can be honest. It is like just like a serviceable rocker, really. Doesn't really do much, although it is good. Lyrics sort of about like poverty, and I'm sort of like that actually no, I'd say that like the lyrics like they are like quite good, sort of like talking about like poverty and like not being able to eat, so you just like skin and bone. So yeah, it is like there's like a strong message like in like this song, and like the music like it isn't like half bad either. But again, it isn't like really like it is like just like sort of like a standard like blues like rocking track. So yeah, nothing really too like groundbreaking with this song. So yeah, a 7 out of 10 for Skin and Bone. Next one is called Alcohol, which is like, as like the title like would suggest, like is like about sort of like getting like addicted to alcohol, sort of like to like forget like your troubles and that. Just like a very sort of slow, dreary like musical number. Although the lyrics, they are interesting, although maybe not great. So yeah, just like a very average song. I like take it or leave it, this song for me. Now, closing side one, we have a song called Complicated Life, which I'm giving a 4 out of 10. Now, this one I will say is listenable, although nothing special for me. Very sort of similar like instrumentation and like sound to like the rest of like the album. Like they're not really like pushing themselves. Whereas with like albums like Arthur and like even like Lola, actually, there'd be sort of like you'd have like different sounds and like different musical styles. Whereas on here, although yeah, there is like quite a bit, you do have sort of country and like British like vaudeville sort of styles on it. This one here, like it just seems like the stereotypical like arrangement for this album, like in terms of like the musical like sounds, like what like they're using, and like yeah, like lyrics are like a little bit poorer like on like this one, like sort of like he's generally like moaning about like how like complicated like his life is without really going into too much detail on that. So yeah, a little bit poorer song for me. Side 2 opens up with a song called Here Come the People in Grey, which I'm giving a 6 out of 10 to. Again, just another sort of 12-bar blues song. Nothing new, all like groundbreaking, like I said, but like a nice like toe tapper. And yeah, like the lyrics for this one are like mildly interesting, seem to be about like being like a wanted man, like by like the police, and like that sort of like being chased by them and that, and like people in grey being like the police and that. So yeah, okay song, again just like an average track for me. Next number is called Have a Cup of Tea, which I'm giving a 4 out of 10 to. Sort of like a much sort of jokier, sort of music hall, like novelty song, like you could call this. Sort of like about like going like to grandma's house for like a cup of tea. I like the sentiment of the song. Like I mean, like I do drink tea and that, yeah, and like I do like having tea with a biscuit and that. So yeah, like it is a nice song, or like it should be like a nice song. Although it is just that chorus, it's so annoying, just like, have a cup of tea, have a cup of... It's just, no, it really grates on me, the chorus. But yeah, like, it does, like, celebrate that British tradition rather well, although it is, like, just, like, a, like, poor song for me. Like, it isn't one that, like, I'd ever play, like, outside off, like, when, like, actually, like, give this album a spin, which is quite rare. Then we get a song called Holloway Jail, which is like a much quieter, like acoustic number, sort of like about like a guy whose like girlfriend like ends up like in jail or like something like that. Just song, it like fails to like engage me, this track, like both in terms of like the lyrics, which are a bit like I don't want to say like stereotypical, but like they're not really like they're not very touching or like moving lyrics. It is just like a wee like story what like he's wrote out and that, and like kind of like yeah, just like an average song really, like average like musical arrangement. Again, not very memorable. So yeah, a 3 out of 10 for that one. Then we get a good song at last on the album, a track called Oklahoma, USA, which I am giving an 8 out of 10 to. A much slower, quieter song, although I do really like the lyrics, sort of like dreaming about like moving out of like poverty and like dreaming of like becoming like a star. Mentions like the musical like Oklahoma and that. So yeah, it really works. Nice like accordion like in like the background, like really like where it should be, just sort of like augments the song quite nicely. And yeah, definitely like my favourite song like on like the album. Very nice sort of harmonies as well. Like if like I remember this song like quite well. Like I think like Ray and Dave like saying like a nice like harmony vocal like on like the chorus, what like really works. So yeah, definitely like a really good Kinks song. Although in like the grand scheme of things, taking like everything what I've ever done like into like account, this one like I'm afraid wouldn't be one of my absolute favourites. But it is still a really good song though. Now, second to last song is called Uncle Son, which I'm giving only a 3 out of 10 to. This one very much drags its heels. Like, it's not a very long song, although it does feel that way. Like, it is like only like about 3 minutes, but you could be like mistaken for thinking that it's going on for about 5-6 minutes, because it really just like drags its heels and like that, yeah. Sort of like the lyrics talk about like different like political viewpoints and that, which like, so like it works. You think, right, like where's he going with this? But then it doesn't really conclude. He just sort of like he's singing sort of like about that, and then like it doesn't really like go anywhere like the actual like lyrics. Like it just sort of like stops. So yeah, like a little bit poor. Annoying bottleneck guitar like as well, like that sort of like steel slide guitar. Really not one of like my favourite like instruments like or sounds. Very like American sort of country sounding. Like not really my thing personally. So yeah, 3 out of 10. And now the album does close quite well with the title song Muswell Hillbilly, which I'm giving a 7 out of 10 to. A good, decent closing number, like I have to say. Quite like, yeah, similar sounding like to like the rest of the album. Although, like, I do think that it works, like, nice, like, chorus, again, like, nice, like, close harmonies, like, on, like, the chorus line, like, I'm just, like, a Muswell Hillbilly boy, or something like that. So, yeah, maybe not, like, the best lyrics, but like, a good, like, obvious way to end the album. So, yeah, a decent song there. So, my overall score for this album is 48%, which is the lowest score that I have ever given out. Certainly like the only score I think below 60% what like I've ever done. So yeah, a rather poor album here. Reasons why like I think it is like so poor. For one, I think it could be like the sloppy production. Although like when like I was like reading, like they actually recorded this all on like the vintage 1950s like equipment and that. So yeah, like I think that like that like could play like a part in like maybe why like I'm not a big fan of this, but I think it is like also like the music and like the arrangements, they're very sort of average and like kind of boring like most of like the time. Although there are some great like lyrical ideas like expressed like throughout the album, I just don't feel like they've been like executed very well in like the context of like the songs. And maybe it's like my like age, like I'm still like quite young and that's like a lot of like the themes of like the lyrics like I've not like experienced or like I can't really I can't really like relate to and that. So maybe like as I grow older, some of these songs like might start to make like more sense and that. But most of like the time like it just seems like it's sort of like moaning and that like about like sort of like the struggles of like working life and that. So yeah, a little bit like weaker lyrically for me now anyway. Also like another thing, like while like I was like researching for like this review, like I could only like ever like find like positive reviews, like there was almost like no negative ones like on like the internet and that. So yeah, like I was like reading them sometimes thinking, oh like we're listening like to like the same album here. And like another thing like as well, like if like this is like supposed to be like about and them going back to like Muswell Hill and like sort of like recounting like growing up and like sort of like the themes of like the working class people then that, like doubt that like they were like listening to like American country music. Like after all like the Kinks were like the ultimate mods, like almost like you really got me like these classic sort of like powerful like sort of like R&B style songs, not like this sort of like and like country blues mix what you get on here. But yeah, don't get me wrong, like the Kinks are like one of like my absolute favourites. I mean like in like the 60s for me, they were second only to the Beatles. Like Ray Davies was an amazing songwriter back then. And just like a couple of like days ago, like I went to see like Kinks musical Sunny Afternoon, which sort of like a show about like their formative years and that. A really fantastic musical, so I can recommend you all go and see that. But for me, after like the Lola album, which was like the one before this, like they did take like quite a bit of like a dive, like going like more like into like concept albums and like rock operas. You got stuff like Preservation and like Kinks present a soap opera and Schoolboys in Disgrace. A lot of like really subpar albums, but when they were great, they were really fantastic. And like a lot of people see this as like the end of like their classic era. Me personally, I see this album like as like the beginning of their like decline in like the mid-70s. But I hope I haven't like upset like too many people like with this review. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.